All right, what's happening, everyone? We got some special guests here tonight on our latest episode of Beyond the Game. This is a special edition where we're bringing in a state championship team for the first time on the show, which is pretty cool. We'll talk about their story, their journey. We're going to talk about some of the games, the players, everything that happened in and around a pretty incredible state championship run. So before I introduce our guests tonight, and they talk a little bit about themselves, which I'm really excited about. I just want to mention a couple things about the show tonight. So we have a giveaway that we're going to be announcing later tonight for whoever asks the best questions. So String King, who's a big sponsor of ours and worked closely with Beyond the Game, has presented a really nice prize for whoever asks the best question on tonight's show. So, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, we hope that everyone who tunes in tonight, learns a little something about what we considered you guys as an underdog. So it's kind of like an underdog story. While to you guys, you probably think otherwise, which I'm excited to hear you guys talk about that. So, before we get into things, let's start with Coach Taylor, maybe giving us an introduction on who you are, both as, maybe a past player, talk about your history as a coach, and just talk, a little bit about, what brought you to become the head coach at Shoreham Wading River.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
So my playing background is I'm actually a Canadian. I played my whole life in box lacrosse. So my first field game actually was my first college game. My first college field experience was my first practice in college. I came here from Ontario, so I played my lacrosse at Dowling College. I actually was their first All-American there. After graduating there, I went to Patcho Medford, where I started my coaching career. And when there was a coaching change at Dowling, I had the opportunity to go back to Dowling, which I always wanted to be a college coach. So I spent 15 years at Dowling College, and lucky enough I got to be in the national championships in 2007, where we lost to Lemoyne, and then back in 2012, where we actually got to win the national championship. The year after I won the national championship, Shoreham Wading River came up, and not too many programs like this come up too often. So special programs, which I consider so much history there. So when I had that opportunity to take it, I made the move over to high school.
So in your last year coaching college, you won a national championship?
Yeah.
That's pretty special. What was that like for you as a coach to kind of work for somewhere for so long and win it all?
Well, it was really special for Dowling, especially because they had a very short history of being successful at lacrosse. So I think there was a kind of a quick turnaround there from going from basically a nobody in lacrosse to beating a powerhouse like Lemoyne and Post and Adelphi.
Sure.
So it was quite exciting. Yeah.
Now, being that you won the state championship this past year doesn't mean you're leaving Shoreham, right?
No.
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 All right, good.
No,
We'll see you next year. All right, that's important.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So I appreciate it. Let's pass the mic to one of your players to the left. Let's talk. Give us your name, jersey number, position, and talk about what it was like growing up in Shoreham playing Lax there.
Hi, I'm Trevor Kessle, number 42. I play close defense. I started playing lacrosse around first grade with a few kids, X being one of them. In a year, I'll be on my way to University of Michigan to play lacrosse.
Why'd you choose Michigan?
Academics.
Academics.
For the education, yeah.
Sure. Did you talk about your experience going out there and your recruiting trip? You go out to Michigan, were you right away like, this is where I want to go?
Yeah, that was actually one of the first schools I visited, and it was insane, and that's why I chose it.
You go to a football game while you're out there?
Yeah. I've been to like 2 or 3 now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, have you gotten a chance to build relationships with maybe some of the kids on the team, even though you're only...
Well, yeah. One of them I actually play with travel, Caden Hawkinson.
Sure.
And Justin Brown I've played with too, which are both Long Island kids that are going up there. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's clear Michigan's recruiting the Long Island guys, which is cool. All right, cool, man. Well, I'm happy for you. Congratulations on a big season and your future success as a Wolverine.
Thank you.
Xavier, let's give a quick intro, talk the same thing, give us your jersey number, all that good stuff.
All right, well, thank you for having us out. It means a lot. My name's Xavier Arline, number 24. I play attack, and this is my 4th varsity season under Coach Taylor after he took me in, and we've been together trying to win a chip ever since. We've had great guys come through this program, a lot of history, so it means a lot just to be able to put on a jersey and say you represent Shoreham. So we got it done this year, and I can't thank everyone else around us. That means the most to me out of everything.
I remember watching you guys last year. You ran into a team that eventually won the state championship in the game I saw, which was Islip. I know you're close to that staff. You guys know some of the players on the team. And I just remember watching you play in that game, and I knew that you were building something special just because of your attitude. It was always positive. You guys were young. You had a young group. You guys were all impact players. Talk a little bit about the difference between last year's team to this year's team.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to compare teams because, same coach, so we always have the same, mindset and whatnot. I think we're a little younger. I think we didn't have as much experience as we do this year, so that definitely plays a role into it. And, last year we were we were the hunted. We weren't the hunter. The roles kind of switched this year, and other teams had a target on their back, so we were trying to take something. We played each game with a chip on our shoulder this year.
Was that an adjustment for other guys in your team? I feel like you're comfortable assuming that role of like attacking constantly, but did other guys struggle with that, or did you feel as though there was like pretty good buy-in from your team?
Everyone bought in. I mean, that's the key. That's why we won this year. Everyone bought in to everyone, the leaders of the team, coach, all the coaches, the whole coaching staff. Everyone bought in and wanted the same thing, so everyone was ready for it.
Talk about where you're going to college in a couple years.
Yeah, I'll be attending the University of North Carolina. Don't regret my decision. As soon as I visited, I fell in love. From everything from the education to the campus to the college field to the lacrosse. It was definitely a good fit.
Did all the other athletic programs kind of draw you to the school? Because I feel like Carolina's just good in everything. So
going to football games, basketball games, the whole atmosphere of being at college.
Yeah,
it definitely draws guys in. Definitely.
What's interesting too, like your college choices, two obviously great schools, good programs, but they also have histories like your high school program. So I think you guys are kind of stepping into programs that one in Carolina who I think has had success. They're trying to get back there. Michigan's building success. So I feel like you guys right off the bat, forget about like from an athletic standpoint. I think from a standpoint of like experience and leadership, you guys will be able to contribute to those teams, which I want to talk about in a little bit, which is kind of the preparedness of what you do for your kids. If you don't mind, X, let's give the mic back to Coach Taylor here. Talk about real quick. What are your goals in running the Shoreham program? I know winning is obviously a part of it, but clearly there's more here because the kids that you're sending off to college, it's not just a message of like, hey, it's win or fail. There's other things there. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I think it's first of all it starts off with the culture that was there even prior to me getting there. There's so much history.
Yeah.
And then so I thought it was very important I took over as the PAL director.
Yeah.
I've coached.
Can you talk about what the PAL is for people that are watching outside the state?
So that's basically our youth.
Yeah.
So from kindergarten to 12th grade, I probably know every kid's name.
Yeah.
And they know mine. And
Right.
I think that's important. I also, as much as possible, get these guys to come down and help.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are like superheroes right now to these kids.
Yeah.
So it kind of builds that culture of keep building and building your program because we're not talking about a team, we're talking about a program.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk about preparedness. These are conversations I've had with Xavier, and some of these guys are going to these big-time places. I think they're fortunate that we have 3 coaches on our staff that have been college coaches.
Right.
So we're constantly saying that this isn't going to fly in college. This is what you need.
Right.
As good as Xavier and Trevor are, and
Yeah.
other kids on our team, we continue to make them better for the next level.
Yeah.
Try to give them as many tools now that's going to help us, but really help them when they get there as well.
Gotcha. Now let's talk about your approach going into this season. You have I think what some consider a really young and talented group. For you guys, was your approach always like, hey, this is our goal, county championship? Or was your goal like, hey, let's see if we can make the most of the season with this young team?
We actually talked right from the beginning of not setting a bar.
Yeah.
I said that I thought the bar for our team was it could just keep moving.
Yeah.
So I said, let's not set a bar. Let's focus on ourselves through the regular season, all the way through to the championship game. We're not going to worry about opponents. We're just going to get ourselves better. So our focus was constantly, even from the Suffolk County Championship game to the Long Island game, we want how can we improve? How can we improve? And the kids bought in. We just kept saying, whatever we do, how do we get better? Because if we keep getting better, we'll be in the right spot at the end of the year.
Trev, I got a question for you. Do you recall any moment throughout the season that you would consider maybe a piece of adversity, seemed like a roadblock, or maybe a little bit of doubt that seeped into your team? And if so, how'd you guys get through that?
The spot where we had to read. I don't know.
Well, for you, like, what are some things we'll talk about in general? Like, you have a lot going on, right? You guys are juniors in high school. Think about everything that you guys have to do on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis to be successful in the classroom, off the field, and obviously on the field. Like, what are some things that you guys deal with that you've had to work through, maybe as a group or a class, that you're like, hey, like, listen, we got to get through this if we want to be successful in all these different areas of life and then keep pushing forward.
Maybe like the doubt we received from people like from the lacrosse community.
Like us.
Yeah, like you guys. Yeah. Who didn't believe in us. That was what really motivated us, you know, to try to get to the top.
So what do you mean by, and Xavier, feel free to chime in. This is kind of a general question for you guys. Talk about motivation. Like, what is motivation to you, and how do you deal with motivation in a positive way to kind of drive your team towards success?
I mean, before the season even started, we made our lacrosse group chat, and I named it 2019 Lax, hashtag PPW, which stands for Prove People Wrong. So even before the season even started, that's been our motto.
Yep.
So, you know, I said playing with a chip on our shoulder, that's what we've been doing all year. So, you know, sometimes I like to thank everyone who didn't believe in us because, you know, that's the reason why we won.
Yeah.
Really is one of the biggest reasons why we won. So I couldn't have done it. You know, all the leadership. I mean, I know Coach Taylor talked to you know, a bunch of the leaders on the team before the season started, and Trevor included, me and Don Vicentin and Liam Daly and everyone. You know, they really came together and led this group to be all be on the same page.
What are some things that go in that group chat? Obviously, things that are okay to share. Like talk about what goes in there that maybe you don't mind talking about to everyone else.
I mean, there is definitely some messages before games. What that really showed that everyone was into it. I mean, from guys that start, from guys that get, you know, little minutes, everyone was saying their piece. You know, no one's afraid to tell you, you know, I love you guys, I'll do anything for you guys. So that really shows what we're all about.
Mm-hmm. It seems like you kind of created a true sense of just kind of like openness, and I feel like your teammates felt comfortable just kind of being themselves and expressing themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And that kind of starts with what you saying, like your focus really was on yourself and your team throughout the season. Is there any point, which I want to get into, you know, your playoff run in a second, but was there any point where you're like, okay, we need to shift gears now and say, hey, this isn't just about focusing on how good our team can be and what we need to do? Like, at what point did you start thinking about maybe your opponent, the competition, and starting to prepare for that in maybe a more like detailed way?
Yeah, to be honest, we didn't prepare really for other teams until playoffs. We were so focused on just getting ourselves better. We really, the first time we ever game planned actually was Mount Sinai game.
Gotcha.
Again, because we just thought playoffs are a whole different season.
Yeah.
We just need to get into playoffs. But we need to make sure that we're playing the right lacrosse at the end of the season. So that was probably a big shift because focusing on the other team gave us a little bit more of an advantage as well.
Right.
You know, we didn't do that like I said, all year long. So being able to game plan made us a little bit even better and play with a little more confidence. And you talk about buying in. I think this is the first time that I, as a coach, experienced a sideline from top to bottom that was into the games.
Yeah.
There wasn't one guy that didn't know his role, didn't care. I actually made, for the first time ever, I picked a sideline captain. And this was a kid.
Who's your sideline captain?
His name's Raf. and he literally was my sideline captain, where he led the cheers. It's the first time ever I let them do skits.
Love it.
They were literally Sellies, skits, whatever they want to call it. They were skits to me because they were like well orchestrated plays. I am old.
Was there a little bit of practice for these skits?
Oh yeah, they practiced them for sure. They did. They had to because they were pretty good. But he also controlled it. You know, like he made sure they echoed the calls.
Yeah.
I never had to say, hey guys, echo the calls.
Yeah.
If I was yelling, there was times where I was yelling in the games.
Yeah.
And he would say, guys, yell that, and they would yell it.
Sure.
So I instantly, after a few times of him doing that, without me asking him, I said, do you know what? You're now a sideline captain.
Yeah.
You know, I've never done that before, and he was a big part to our program as well.
That's huge.
You know, and every kid bought in.
Yeah.
There wasn't one kid that wasn't enjoying themselves on the sideline.
Yeah.
Knew their role and believed that they could play a part.
Let's give a shout out to Herb Kessel. Who is this guy? I mean,
Jack Herb.
Well, he's a legend on your team.
Yeah, he's a legend in SWR. I don't know. He's an outstanding guy, actually.
What makes him stand out amongst the rest on your team? What's his personality like, and what
outgoing?
How did it help? He's outgoing.
Yeah, he's an outgoing.
How does
guy.
that help your team having an outgoing?
I don't know. It kind of brings everyone closer. Makes it more of like a family, having someone who's like always willing to say something or like make a joke out of things. But then he knows how to get serious at times too.
So he had like a good pulse of like the team.
Yeah.
He doesn't just like.
Yeah, we had a few kids on our team actually who were like that.
Who are some other guys that were like that?
We had Anthony Semino was another kid. Liam Daly also. He really knew how to like get everyone going and get like everyone in like the moment in the zone.
Did you guys realize the importance of those types of players before you made this run this year?
Not really, but we never really focused on like one whole player. It was mostly about the team the entire year, and that's how we kind of like lived through the season.
Xavier, I have a question for you. So like, you're the kind of the quarterback of the team. you demand a lot of attention just because of your abilities and what you do on the field. How do you deflect some of that and kind of create that team culture when a lot of stuff, especially on the offensive end, runs through you? You get a lot of attention because of your production and all that stuff, and people talking about you and showing highlights and all that good stuff. How do you kind of keep things about the team and not just about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it can get hard. Definitely on some teams, not ours. It can get hard on some teams because of the tension-wise and stuff. But I think everyone knows their role, and when people know their role and people know what's really in it, like my job is to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff that goes on in the middle of the field, at the other end of the field, at the face-off X, that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, these guys understood that.
Yeah.
So I mean, everyone deserves a lot of credit, but like Coach said and Trevor said, everyone bought in, and
Yeah.
that's really the most important thing.
Cool. Great answer. Coach, let's give the mic back to you for a sec. Let's talk about the county championship game.
Sure.
I want to show a picture in a second. Were you able to load those up, Frank, those pictures in there?
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. We want to talk before we get there anyway. So let's talk about that game. Just talk about what it was like to be a part of it. Talk about how it ended. I just, for someone that wasn't there, I just want to, I think it's good.
I think two unique things about that game is, I think, people always talk about, I'm not really a media guy, so they'll talk about, they're not supposed to be there. As a coach and you're assessing talent, I thought all year that we should be there.
Yeah.
I thought that we did have the right pieces, and I thought we peaked at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling very confident in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I had several people say to me, "You were so calm," and I said, "Well, I really did believe that these guys were going to pull it out.
Right.
I really did." And I think the way it ended was even better. We go into that game should go into overtime. Two great teams battling like that,
Mm-hmm.
and to go into overtime and to have the person who's a senior on his way out, playing with an injury, playing with dislocated shoulder.
And who is that player for people?
Anthony Semino.
Yep.
And just to give a little background on that, so we win the opening face-off. We get the timeout
Yep.
to run the play. I call my 6 offensive players who I want on the field. One of those players, Gavin Gregoric, who's a tremendous player for us,
Mm-hmm.
says to me, "Coach, I'm gassed. Don't put me in. Put Anthony in."
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
And sacrifice says, I'm not going to hurt the team. Put him in right now.
Why'd you listen to him?
He was tired, and I believe in Anthony. There wasn't one guy in that team that I didn't believe in.
Yeah.
And I think I said to Xavier, Xavier, they're going to double you. Anthony's going to be open.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about Anthony he's one of our top players, but not probably in our top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a guy that probably thought, we can slide from this guy.
Right.
And we all believe Anthony can score.
Right.
So if you look in that game right away, if you look back and look at it, you can see X goes, that guy slides from Anthony, and I just said, Anthony, just catch, you're going to score, just catch it and score.
Yeah.
And he did everything. It just worked out perfect.
Cool.
It was kind of like a movie scene.
You're good to go. I want to show the end. So the end of the scene. This is a really cool picture we found on Xavier's Instagram. What's going on the right there? Xavier's dishing out a hug? I heard those don't come very frequently.
That's the first time. He's been with me since 8th grade. We've won a Long Island championship, a downstate championship before. We won Suffolk before. That's the first hug he's ever given me.
I got to ask Xavier, why did you dish him a hug in this moment? This is just a county championship, right? What's up there?
It wasn't just a county championship. I was just letting everything. I couldn't tell you what was coming out of me that day.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that shows if that's my first hug. I don't recall that. I'm
gonna
pretty
fact
sure
check
I've
him on
given
that?
you more hugs than that, but
Well, that's what I remember anyways.
it was definitely the most meaningful.
Yeah. Now, why was it so meaningful, for you especially? Why that game? Why that
Just
moment?
being doubted all year. And, nothing against Mount Sinai. They're a great team. They had a great season.
Yeah.
It was, like Coach said, it was like beating a giant. I mean,
Yeah.
They took everything we had out of us. But, they were the favorite.
Yeah.
And people already classified them as the champs. They were going to win the whole thing. And
Yeah.
behind the scenes, our team just laid quiet. We just went on the field and let our playing do the talking. So
That's
after
awesome.
beating that game, it was can't even describe it.
It's cool. That moment's great. The hug, the celebration, the rain. It wasn't even raining that game, right? You said just towards the
It
end.
was towards the
When you
end.
saw, I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was confetti.
So you said everything you had went into that game. That was a cool picture. Let's show that one. That was a celebration after. You remember what goal that was or not really?
I do, actually.
Which
yeah.
goal was that?
I actually went for a ground ball, got out of bounds, picked up the ball at the midfield line. I think it might have been 14 Maryland you called. Got dodged from up top. It was actually 21 power, and I slipped from my right to my left and nailed the offside pipe with my left hand.
Cool. Lefty goal.
Yeah, lefty.
That's an appropriate celebration for a lefty goal. I love it. So, I mean, you talked about pouring everything you had in that game and beating a giant. You got to bounce back now. You got the Long Island Championship coming up. Talk about what it was like preparing for Cold Spring Harbor. I mean, you go back in time. I remember playing Shoreham for Cold Spring Harbor in a Long Island Championship. I mean, there's been teams well before I played playing the Long Island Championship. Talk about what it was like for you to prepare for that and then going into that game against Cold Spring.
I think our biggest thing for us is just so little time in between games.
Right.
And when you talk about spent, physically, Xavier couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
And we're talking about practice and preparation, and that's when we made the decision that all our preparation was going to be rehab.
Right.
We did a whole bunch of ice baths and rolling out with softballs and stretching and, just really taking care of our bodies. We thought that was the most important thing. We wouldn't be able to do any plays if you can't walk.
Right.
So we spend most of our time doing physical stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest focus.
This is, again, we were talking about before the show started, you're preparing these guys to be college athletes. Like, you're doing that now. You guys are going to do that as college players on, like, a weekly basis. Like, ice baths are going to become regular for you guys after practices. So
We actually spoke about, I made the fact of, we sit here as fans at home watching the NBA, where they have days in between.
Yep.
And I tried to explain to them, this is what they're doing.
Yep.
You know how hard it is for us. And imagine playing a 7-game series.
Right.
Where you're playing every other night as a
Right.
hockey player or a basketball player. It's not about X's and O's. They're just doing rehab and getting themselves ready, eating right and sleeping right.
Right.
And we really focused on that through our whole championship run.
how did you guys feel in the Cold Spring Harbor game, physically and mentally?
Going into it, I felt pretty good. Once we got in there, though, I never really had a doubt. I didn't think we were going to lose. Some people did, but I don't know. In the game, it was like I didn't feel anything once I got in there. It's
Gotcha.
just adrenaline.
What was it like playing against your boy you're going to Michigan with, Caden?
It was fun. We had some words. Nothing bad, though. It was fun.
How about for you, Xavier? What was it like playing that Long Island Championship game?
It was the weirdest game I've ever played in my life. We
Talk
were
about
losing.
you're down, what, 5, you said, in the fourth?
Down 5, in the fourth quarter, and there was no doubt that came into anyone's head. It was no doubt at all, and it's tough. Anyone can tell you that they don't think it, but some people do. But there was none there, and we were down, and all of a sudden we were tied, and then we were up 1, up 2, and then they scored, and they had the ball back with, what was that, 5-6 seconds left, and Trevor was matched up against them.
Yeah, I was not talking about that.
And they missed. That
was at the 50, right? Who cut off ball on the.
He had the ball with, the player had the ball with like 5 seconds
5 seconds left.
And we put Trevor on it. And of course, we said, Trevor, just don't let him get topside.
He got topside.
We missed though, so we got
Scary
lucky.
moment. We
But
thought,
we're still talking about it on a live show. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good. It happens. It's right. You guys made it. You got out of that game, and now it was on the road to playing a state championship. So, again, like now it's about recovery. It's about you're going on a road trip for. Is this the first time during the season you went on a road trip, or you did one?
No, again, thinking that you're always trying to prepare your team. So 2 things I try to do. I try to get non-league games. I try to get the toughest non-league games I can. So we've Garden City, John Jay, 2 great programs. So I'm always trying to do that. I also this year, because I thought we might have to travel, we did a Maryland trip early in the year as a scrimmage. Cool. So we went down to Maryland and played the League 2 state champs, and the 2 teams that were in the games. So again, that was just in preparation of possibly having to do a bus trip and an overnight. And again, I think it helped us. I think the kids weren't distracted. They knew it was a business trip, not a vacation.
Take me through that first day you had up there. Was it to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we had made arrangements. They gave us an hour to practice on the field. So I thought we need to have a real, we've been doing so much physical rehab, we hadn't really done a lot of preparation on the field. So we drove straight to Pittsburgh. I was able to speak to an upstate connection who got me in touch with the local high school. We talked to their athletic director, and he was gracious enough to give us they were wonderful people up there. They had water waiting for us, music playing. It was great. So we spent probably 2 hours there getting after it. Then from there we went and checked in, had dinner, and then I took them out for a movie. I wanted to make sure that the kids were distracted and not, again, just to keep them relaxed.
What movie did you guys see? You remember?
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
How was it?
It's okay.
Whatever.
I'm not really a movie person, though.
Gotcha.
A
Yeah.
lot of people were sleeping in the movies. That's what I
I was
noticed.
just like,
You're sleeping. Getting your Z's in.
yeah.
And then you head back to the hotel, and then what happened the next day?
So the next day we headed back to the we actually stayed in the dormitories there. That's what they do.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
everyone stays in the dorms, which is another great experience for the kids.
Yeah.
And then we made them have a late breakfast, let them sleep in, late breakfast, and then we were able to. I said, just relax, go watch the games.
Yeah.
So we were able to watch the Massapequa game, which was nice. Some of us walked around the campus and toured the campus. So I did that with their athletic director. I'd never been there before. It's a beautiful campus, St. John the Fisher.
Cool.
And then just kind of just relaxed.
Yeah.
We just try to keep it light. I think that was the biggest thing, just not to
Yeah.
think about it too much.
For you guys, I'm just curious, what was it like to see a team like Massapequa, who you probably don't see during the regular season, maybe don't know much about, just kind of seeing another fellow Long Island team up there competing? Like, what was that experience like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to them. But you automatically feel an instant connection to them.
Yeah.
You feel like you've been with them
Right.
forever. Meanwhile, you probably know one or two guys on the whole team. So
Right.
it's cool to have another Long Island native there competing for the same thing you are, having the same goals.
Yeah.
Preparing in the same way.
Mhm.
They put just as much hard work in as we did.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of credit to them.
I felt like the lacrosse community and the media felt an immediate connection to all Long Island teams up there. There was also a bunch of girls teams that won, four girls teams that won the state championship, which is amazing. I mean, it really is. It's incredible. And for us, it was hard for us to switch gears and be like, all right, yeah, good luck, Shoreham. After all year, we're like, I don't know if you guys are making it there. While on the other side of things, we felt as though Massapequa, it's easy to peg them as a front runner with their senior class. They had a really, really loaded senior class. But at the same time, it's like, how could you not root for both you guys and then the four girls teams that are up there? So it was pretty cool, that connection. We felt the same thing as you guys went up and did what you had to do. Was there anything you wanted to mention in there?
Oh, I was
as
just
we were
gonna
talking
say
about
how
that?
we went right to their stands actually, and we were cheering for them.
Oh,
'cause,
sweet.
We had an 8-hour trip from Long Island, so
Yep.
there wasn't gonna be that many fans, so we joined in for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Did they feel the energy of you guys rooting for them a little bit? Did you notice that?
We didn't really notice it, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. It
I'm
was
sure they
fun.
respected it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're watching tonight too.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So let's talk about the state championship game. Would you find that as the game that's most memorable as you went up there, or is just the whole experience just kind of one big?
I mean, for me as a coach, I think the whole experience was great. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my first state championship.
Yeah.
I know it's theirs. I mean, that's a huge trip.
Yeah.
I think every game was just a step.
Yeah.
So everyone's a piece of the puzzle. The state championship game was. People ask me if I was shocked. They say, "Are you shocked at the way that they prepped for us?" And I don't think I'm shocked. I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
I think that I get it. You watch film, and you see their players, and them playing other teams, but you're unsure of the quality of team because you don't play the other team.
Right.
You're unsure of the quality of that team, and so them scouting us, I don't think they realized how good probably Xavier was.
Yeah.
They played them straight up, which shocked me a little bit.
Right.
But I thought they might. They were 20-1.
Right.
Why would I wouldn't probably change anything either.
Right.
I'm 20-1. Why would I do that? And they played some very good teams. But it caught me off guard a little bit, just because Xavier's my guy, and
Right.
I do know how good he is.
Right.
So I was, as shocked as I was also very happy.
Yeah.
Because it gave us a real quick 8-2 halftime score. So I think that's what shocked me the most about the game.
Sure. And I think we had a picture too, Frank. Do you mind pulling up the final 12-7? It's hard to see the scoreboard in this one, but this was a cool pic where we saw this on Xavier's Instagram too, of you guys celebrating in front. What was it like for you guys to celebrate there after a state championship compared to maybe celebrating on Long Island after a county or Long Island championship?
It was cool. I honestly don't think that celebration was as fun because on Long Island at the county game, it was like our stands were packed with
Yeah.
kids from our school, and we got to go run into them and stuff. But no, it was exciting. Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know, but state championships are coming back to Hofstra. I believe starting next year, or is it so
Yeah.
next year 21 and 22?
Right.
So that could be different potentially.
That'd be cool.
Well, let's talk a little bit about. I don't want to get too far away from what you guys accomplished this year, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that you guys are no longer going to be pegged as an underdog, at least from us.
Yeah.
How are you guys going to be able to maintain that high level of competitive greatness?
Well, everyone knows what it takes to get to where we got to now, pretty
Yeah.
much. There'll be a few new kids, but
Right.
I don't know. Now we just have to, keep our heads straight and make sure we don't get too cocky.
Gotcha. Xavier, how about you? How are you going to kind of keep the team moving in the right direction and not feel complacent just because you guys won this past year?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows what it takes now. I mean, we definitely have a target on our back, which, like I said, going back and forth between seasons, we've jumped back and forth between having a target and not having a target.
Yeah.
So now these guys get to see what it's like to play on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to have to work even harder than we did this year. Everyone's going to be coming for us. But, I mean, I don't have any doubt in our mind that, Coach Taylor and the rest of the coaching staff and the guys will come ready to work the first day.
How about for you, Coach? How's your approach going to change, or is it going to change as you go into the next season?
It's not. We're going to just have to keep improving.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to set the bar. It's going to be up to them and how much time they're willing to invest. If they're really willing to invest the time and the effort, anything's attainable.
So if there's a coach, maybe watching here, a young coach that kind of wants to be in the seat that you're in, maybe as a college coach, which you've been there, or maybe as a high school coach, which you're at right now, and you're coaching a team, what's maybe one piece of advice you can give to them as they work to, be successful at whatever respective state or level they're at?
I probably would say the biggest thing is immersing yourself in creating that culture. I mean, if you don't have it, create it. If you are lucky enough to have it, when I got there, they had it already.
Yeah.
So I just had to build it up and maintain it.
Yeah.
But I think making a program is important.
Mm-hmm.
Building that sense of community, community, commitment, and character. I think those are the three things that you need to focus on.
Cool.
And I think if you do that and build a program, you'll never fail.
Awesome. Kessel, how about for you? How about a young guy who's watching here tonight? He wants to be a stud defenseman, maybe going to Michigan one day. What's a piece of advice you can give to him to hopefully, be able to work towards accomplishing something that you've accomplished, over the last couple of years?
Depend on your team, probably. Depend on the players next to you, and just work hard every day.
Cool. Well said. Xavier, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, when you get to the next level, everyone's going to be, talented, maybe just as talented, maybe more talented. So try to find the little things that separate you as a player, as a person. So the intangibles, whether it's being a leader, which I know I focused on hard this year, do the little things that separate you from the next person.
How do you develop leadership? What's something that you've worked on to become a better leader over the last year?
I've been, on a lot of different teams, and I've been the young guy on a different team. So I've learned the positives and the negatives over the years of good leadership and not so good leadership. Mm-hmm. I've seen both sides, so definitely being able to know my players, know the guys I'm playing around, how they handle certain things, and having a good balance of, come on guys, we need to be better, and you'll get it next time. Different balances. But I mean, I can't lie. A lot of it comes from my dad. He's been, ever since I've been this big, he's been teaching me how to be a leader. So I'd be lying if I didn't say he gave me a lot of credit for that.
I understand your dad was a player too.
Yeah, back in the day, however old that was. Nah, he won a state championship, so I could finally say I'm like him.
That's cool, man. Well, hey, listen, we all have mentors and leaders and people we look up to. So whether you guys realize it or not, you guys are those people, not just for the Shoreham community, but now there's people, lacrosse fans, kids that are going to be watching, the show and looking up to you too. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and kind of talking about your story, talking about what drove you guys this year, talking about why you're able to be so successful as individuals and as a team. And I thought you guys did an amazing job expressing, why you guys are so great both on and off the field tonight. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No problem, guys. All right, we can roll the exit here, and we look forward to seeing you guys.